Hi, welcome to the Closet Philosophy Podcast. This is Jennine. I'm a personal stylist.
And this is Kristen. I'm a fashion writer, and we're here to uncover the ways that your personal style is so much more than just clothes.
Whether you realize it or not, what you wear touches on science, psychology, culture, politics, and so much more. Hi, Kristen.
Hey, Jennine, how are you?
Hey, I think it's just us today. So
I
yeah, I
kind of
know
love it when it's just us. I mean, I love our guests, of course, but it's kind
yeah,
of fun to
it's kind of
chat
fun.
one-on-one.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about visibility. And I think this is really interesting because a lot of women talk about how they feel invisible when they get into, past their 40s. And I think about like, oh my gosh, like I remember exactly when the first time like I felt invisible. How about you?
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Do you want to tell
Yeah.
your story first?
Sure, yeah. I mean, okay,
Okay.
so this was like I think like I was probably about I would say like maybe like 42 or something like that. And I had my like just like finished nursing my kid and like right after because like when you're like nursing your kid they consume like 500 you have to consume an extra 500 calories a day, right? And so when I stopped nursing my kid and I didn't change how I ate, like I put on some weight and I was going to I forget what store I was going to, but I was going into a store. I remember it was at the Emeryville Center, the shopping center there.
Mm.
And I was
Oh, yeah.
just a t-shirt and jeans, like, and I had my hair up. Like, I wasn't like dressed like any like special. Like, I was kind of like underdressed, I'm kind of schlubbing it. And I just remember I was in the store, like kind of looking around, and like nobody said anything to me, which I think is fine. But then I saw like a younger woman walk in, and like all the sales associates kind of was like, "Oh my God, hi, welcome." And like, and all of they were like talking to her, like, "Oh, can we help you?" Like, "Oh, that looks so cute." And they were just like gushing over this young woman. And they never said like anything to me. And so, and then, when I went to get help, they were like, okay. And they
Like, why are you talking to us?
why are you talking to me? Like, yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, this is weird. And then I was just like, okay, this is probably a thing. And so yeah, so that was like the first time like I noticed.
Well, I'm sorry that happened to you. That is not a good feeling. And yeah, so I remember, you and I were both in that sort of like blogging community back in the day, like
Hmm.
a little like a decade to 12 years ago or so, right?
Yeah.
And so I was invited to this like influencer dinner. I can't even remember who was hosting it, but it was in San Francisco. And I got there and it was huge. There were like three long tables. And I think this is when you lived in Germany, maybe.
Oh,
What years did you live in Germany?
like 2017 and
Oh,
2018. So,
maybe it was longer ago than that. I don't know. Yeah, I know. I think it was longer ago than that. Anyway, I don't remember you. I don't think you were there, but it
mm,
was a lot of younger influencers who I didn't know, but there were several who I did know. So I was sitting on one side, someone who I knew who was like sort of closer to my age, and then someone on the other side who I did not know who was clearly in her probably 20s.
mm,
And back when I was in my 40s, I had this very bad habit of always like mentioning my age or bringing up age like unnecessarily. Like, just shut up. Why do you have to even talk about it? Like, I was
mm,
just like so self-conscious. So I felt like bringing it up might help in some way.
mm,
I've avoid doing that now, but somehow I started chatting to the young woman next to me. And I said something like, I can't believe how young everyone is here. Like, it makes me feel so old. Like, I used to say things like that all the time, and when I think back, I'm like, why? Why did you say that?
Well, I
Um,
mean, it's like that kind of realization, maybe
y-
that you're in a different stage of life, maybe. And it was
I
like,
yeah, I think that, and also I think I used to rely a lot on self-deprecation to make me feel better because I would then rely on the other person being like, "Oh, but you look great, you look great." I
yeah.
think that unconsciously, that sort of internalized misogyny that we've talked about lately, that was happening in my subconscious. So I said that to this woman and she looked at me and she goes, "Well, how old are you?" And I think I was 44 or I might have been 46. So I
Oh,
said, well, I'm 46 and her eyes literally went like that and she
oh,
turned her head and stopped talking to me. I kid you not. And just like continued talking to her friends who were on the other side of me. And I was like, whoa, like that was very clear that she was like not interested in chatting with someone who was my age.
wow.
Yeah. And cause I was like, am I imagining this? But no, her head was like, her back of her head was, was towards me all of a sudden. So that was
Wow.
eye-opening.
Wow. That is like, that must have been really like, oh my God. It's just like age, like I think a bit. I mean, at the same time, it's like, remember when you were younger, because like there's this trope in society about like older women being jealous of younger women. And so, and it's like, and I do believe like now that I'm on the other side of that, that it's like more like these are stories that are told by men to pit women against each other.
A
In
100%.
because I don't think of myself as being jealous of younger women, like even in even in the store situation, like I was not jealous of the younger woman. I was like, okay, so they do talk to their customers. They just don't
Yeah.
talk to me.
Yeah. And yeah, and it wasn't like
Yeah.
you were jealous of the younger woman. It was that you wanted to be seen for who you were.
Hmm.
And I think that's sometimes the thing that gets lost in the visibility conversation is
Hmm.
that women want to be seen for who they are. It's not that they want to still be seen as that younger person. They want to be just seen, recognized, respected as the person that who they are now.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that in a patriarchal society is really lost because men, I think, assume that when we say that we want to be seen, when we say that we feel invisible, that they think like, oh, well, they feel invisible to men, they feel invisible to us. And
Hmm.
and then the whole conversation comes up about like, oh, well, have you let yourself go? Like maybe that's why you're not being seen. Like, are you trying to be like it's like, no, that's not how we want to be seen. It's that we just want to be seen for who we are now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's like an interesting observation because a lot of women in their younger years do want to be seen by men. You're looking for your partner, like, and you want to be noticed by somebody who could potentially be your partner. And like that makes sense, right? And so, and then what happens in, later life, like you learn just some of you kind of realize some of the propaganda that's been fed to you over the years and how it's like not really like realistic, like getting married is not like the be all and end all that it's like fed to us like as young people. And there may be an element of anger in there in that, yes, but it's not directed towards like younger women. You know what I mean? And I think that when men feel that, kind of like I'm not going to put up with that anymore, they they don't like it. They don't like it because they've lost power
Exactly.
And so they lash out at older women and said like, okay, if we're gonna lose power, if you're gonna take power away from us, we're gonna take power away from you.
We're gonna devalue you completely. Yeah.
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 And I don't, and like, I want to be careful to say it's like, it's not like we're devaluing men, we're just decentering them. And so
Right.
from our lives. And I think that that is totally fair. Like, I think that, women have a place in our own lives.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not that we're not valuing men or anything like that. It's more that we are rejecting the idea that our visibility and our value comes from what they believe. It's
Yeah.
like,
From
no.
their desire.
Right. Right. From their desire and their like where they want our place to be in society.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say they, that's very general, but
Yeah.
like our spouses, hopefully not included.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. My, yeah. Well, yeah. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I wanted to share some like really interesting, in case like we were thinking like, oh, it's just us. It's not in our imagination. So like A Vogel, an herbal supplement company specializing in menopause remedies, they conducted a study of over 2,000 women over the age of 45 to get a feel about women's feelings on aging. And this is what they discovered. They discovered that more than two-thirds of women feel ignored by men when they walk into a crowded room, um,
And this is women over at what age?
over the age of 45.
Okay.
And more than half feel like they have been left on the shelf and have been judged negatively because of their age.
Hmm.
Only 15% say that they are confident in any area of their lives.
Wow.
And 6 in 10 feel that life is geared towards young women, and 46% think that no one understands or addresses what aging and older women go through.
Oh
And
my God.
then what pertains to us in this podcast is like graying hair, having to wear glasses, and an inability to find fashionable clothing were cited as contributing factors to lack of confidence. Well, I wanted to say to that last one, I feel more confident in my glasses. My gray hair. I love my gray hair. I love my gray hair.
Well,
So,
that's why we need as many people like you as possible online to be like showing your face and showing how like awesome you can be with glasses. Like embrace it. Like wear awesome, cool glasses. That reminds me, kind of a tangent, but it reminds me of an article I wrote a long time ago about Buddy Holly. You know how he was
oh,
famous for his glasses? And
yeah.
he was very, very like almost blind.
Mm,
And he was like he didn't want to wear glasses because he thought they didn't look good when he was performing. And he thought that he wouldn't be like attractive to the young girls who were like, screaming over him and everything. And his agent picked up these glasses, I think in Mexico. And he picked up those glasses that are now basically called Buddy Holly glasses.
mm.
I think they're Wayfarers, right? Are they Wayfarers?
Yeah, they're like wait, yeah, they're wayfarers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So picked those up and he said, basically, he said, dude, if you're gonna wear glasses, wear some fucking glasses.
Hmm.
Make a statement. Like, don't make it look like you're not trying to have glasses on.
Hmm.
Anyway, like that was a long story, but I feel like it's a similar thing. Like, embrace it. Like, make them cool. Make them part of your personality. Embrace your gray hair if you want to, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, you don't have
or
to. But
diet if you want to diet. I mean, it's just embrace whatever you're doing and,
and
be out there. It's hard. It's not that like I make it sound like it's easy, but
yeah, but I mean, we've seen time and time again on this podcast, that it's not necessarily like those boxes that are checked by like what the beauty standards are, like thin, blonde, young, blah, blah, blah. It's not those things that necessarily make for confidence. And it's the confidence that is where the power is. And so,
and
it,
that's like the saddest statistic I think that you read was that 15% of these women did not feel confident in any part of their lives. Like that
Mhm.
makes me so sad.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering if what is the statistic for women under 45?
Oh, that's a
Because
good
I
question.
wonder because like for me, like I feel like a lot more confident now than I did when I was younger. Like when I was
Same.
younger, was my confidence was in the gutter. Like I wasn't confident about my voice. I wasn't confident about my looks. I wasn't confident about like any of hardly anything. And now I'm kind of like, you know, yeah, like this
Yeah,
is who I am.
that's a good
So,
question because maybe, I mean, if 15% of women this age don't feel confident about anything, maybe it's even lower for women younger,
yeah.
which would be really, really sad.
That would be sad. But I mean, I definitely think that this whole kind of like visibility thing is like a driving force into like what's holding women back and like not addressing it is kind of like the elephant in the room as to like, you know, preventing women from speaking up and advocating for themselves, and
Yeah.
this kind of, for example, like there is this like coffee shop incident.
I
Uh,
was just thinking of that when you said speaking up for yourself.
yeah,
Yes.
and so like there was this coffee shop incident where they had a sign in their window saying that parking is on us, and so like shop at you know participating businesses on this street, and I assumed that because the sign was in their window that they were participating, because why would they say
Why would the sign
participating?
be there?
Yeah, why
Yeah.
would the sign be there, right? And so
Yeah.
but yeah,
And just to say that, like, Mission District, San Francisco, free parking is a big deal. Like, thank you. Like
yeah.
you're gonna take someone up on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, also too, it's like for those of you who are in San Francisco, this has been like a big issue because San Francisco was hit really hard by the pandemic. A lot of the brick and mortar stores were really in trouble, and then they put this like bike lane like in the center of the street, and that like took away a lot of the parking spaces. And so that really hurt a lot of the businesses that were on that street. And so there's like this initiative to get more people. They took away the bike lane. They finally got rid of the bike lane.
Oh, they did.
And then so the parking was more parking on the street, and then they offered free parking in this one particular garage. So like my mom and my sister came into town, and like me, like I have good parking karma. Like I don't I have literally found parking and Fleet Week in the Presidio, like like I found like parking. Like
That's awesome.
I have really good parking karma, and I'm not afraid to say that. So I'm not
You're
worried
gonna
about.
drive next time we go to a crowded event.
Okay, yay, okay. I mean, I'm not saying that I find parking close, but
Okay. You'll find parking.
there is parking within
Yeah.
walking distance. So, but for my family, my sister lives in a rural part of she lives in rural San Diego County. My mom lives in like a suburban rural area of the Bay Area, and they're not used to taking public transportation. And they're also not used to parking in San Francisco. So I told them to park in this garage. And so there was a sign saying there's free parking. And so, oh, okay, cool. So when I went to validate the parking, the person working behind the counter was like, looked at me like they could not be bothered. And I was like, is this my imagination? But like, I was like, hey, like, I'd like to get our parking validated. And they're like, oh, I don't do that. You have to spend more than $50. Mind you, I spent $43 for three drinks and three coffees, and then plus tip, which made it out to be $49. And somebody calculated it out like $49 and like 55 cents.
Okay.
Something, or no, 45 cents. So it's like 55 cents away from $50, right?
Yeah.
Because I gave a 15% tip. I was like, oh, but it doesn't say so on the sign. And they're like, yes, it does. And I'm like, okay, no, it doesn't. And it didn't say so on the sign, right? And so my mom was like, hey, no worries about it. Like, that's fine. And, whatever. But it was like this like attitude that like, how dare you talk to me? Like
Yeah. Like,
this,
why are you bothering me? Like, go away.
go away, you know? And then I posted about it on social media and like like on TikTok, there's like 275,000 views on that
Wow.
and like 20,000 likes. Like many people are commenting about how they've had similar treatment at that place. And
Oh, really?
yeah, so and then amongst other problematic things. And
Yeah.
you know, but I couldn't help but to think that like three older women come to a counter, like my mother, my sister, and I don't want to put the racial layer on there, but this is also part of it. My mom and my sister both like look indigenous. They're obviously brown people. And it just like I cannot stop it to think like, okay, so there might be that element in there, but then like I didn't want to ask for the manager because I was afraid of being called a Karen.
Of course. I mean, that's the real problem with that Karen trope is that it's it's funny, it's funny when you it seems funny when you watch those videos and some Karen is acting like a total maniac and being racist, whatever. But at its core, that calling someone a Karen is really ageist
Yeah.
because if you were like 21 and you're asking for the manager because something doesn't quite make sense, you're not going to be called a Karen,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, there is very real problematic behavior by some white women who
Yeah,
lash out at people of color and in a very entitled and harmful way. And that is absolutely 100% valid. But that term has been co-opted to mean anybody of a certain age. And then some people say, like,
exactly.
oh, Karen isn't necessarily an age thing. Yeah, it specifically is because Karen was a name that was popular amongst baby boomers. So,
Right.
and then some people are saying, oh, we need a Gen X term for Karen. It's like we should Jennifer or something like that. And or
Do
Heather,
we though?
or
Yeah.
whatever. So that the age component is definitely part of the situation of like the Karen thing. And
Right.
so and
So
so
you're already having an issue here and feeling like unseen and disrespected. And the last thing you want to do is like
be this
say,
hysterical woman who was
yeah,
like
be
asking.
labeled that for asking for the manager, which is the main thing that people make fun of when they're making fun of quote Karens. So
Yeah.
I am not surprised you didn't want to ask for the manager.
Yeah, and I think back to that, it's like, like these are some of the ways that women are pushed back in terms of like, like I mean, we're not supposed to have needs. There's like the whole like cool girl trope of like cool girls are like cool with everything. They don't need anything. They don't want anything.
Oh my
They're
God.
like, what have you. And, and that like extends beyond being young into older age is like, and just like being like okay with being invisible. And so,
Yeah, it's like the older you get, the less and less okay it is to not be cool with everything. Like if you're an old lady, like just be cool with everything because you're lucky we're even acknowledging you, you know? That's kind of how I feel like the attitude is. And I mean,
yeah.
I've fallen victim so much in my life to that cool girl thing. I when I look back, it makes me angry and like upset. Like not just with myself because I know it's not like I set out to, you know, sabotage myself by being a cool girl, but all the messages that I was getting was that like if you're a cool girl, people like you. Like
Hmm.
guys like you. Like I was young and I wanted to be attractive to guys at the time and I got
Hmm.
positive feedback for being like a cool girl who, oh, that's fine. Like you
Hmm.
can be an asshole around me and it's totally fine. And
Hmm.
looking back, I'm like, why didn't I stand up for myself more? So I think the more we can get away from that, cool girl thing and rebel against it, even though it doubles down as we get older,
Hmm.
the better. So where are you now with the coffee shop thing?
Oh, like I had a conversation with the owner. She called or she wanted to get in touch and she seemed really nice on the phone. Like she spoke really kindly and acknowledged the situation, you know, and she also said that I should have contacted the manager.
Oh my God. It's just like you couldn't. It's almost becoming a Seinfeld episode or something like that. It's just like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my
I mean,
God.
I don't know. I mean, it's like, you know, with that whole thing, it happened. Like, I don't want that to be I'm not on a mission to like destroy them or nothing. So it's
Yeah.
not like,
But so so just to be clear, they never offered to reimburse the parking and they're still saying that that's not their policy. They don't do that,
oh
even though the
no,
sign
she
was
did. She did. She apologized. No, she offered, but I don't want to
okay.
go there. So I
Okay.
didn't want to take a gift certificate and vouchers from them because I wouldn't ever use it and I wouldn't give it to anybody.
Because exactly.
So I was like, I don't want anything from you. Like,
Did she say she's going to take the sign down?
the sign is, I actually took the sign down.
Oh, good.
Me.
To prevent other people from having to deal with it,
Well, no, because they were telling me it wasn't on this, it was on the sign. And so I took it out of the window so we
to
could
show them.
both look at it at the same time.
Right.
As I said, it's not on this, if it's on the sign, where is it?
Right.
And that's why I took it down. But so, and it's also interesting because somebody commented that I had ripped it out of the window and then went in there and started shouting at people and ripped up the sign at the counter. And
Like
I'm
you're
like,
Sinead O'Connor, like
the coffee shop was full of people. All the staff was there. There was nobody at the counter. I mean, there's people sitting in the restaurant or the coffee shop. And you know, in today's day and age, if I had really behaved that way, don't you think somebody would have started recording that?
oh yeah,
You
it'd be out
know,
there.
don't you? But
It
I
would
know,
be out there.
and this is like another thing too, was like I realized that, anytime like a woman like raises her voice or is angry, she is seen as hysterical and instantly discounted. So
Hmm.
when I walked into there, I was very, very conscious and to speak like this, to very, very quiet, like I was here earlier today and this is what happened. And I was really embarrassed you did this in front of my mother, and that's how I spoke. And she actually had to step closer to me so she could hear me speak. So I actually
Hmm.
spoke with a lower tone of voice because I had read somewhere that people hear women more if they speak quietly.
Oh, because that's what you're supposed to do?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah, I know it's weird. So, yeah, so that that whole thing happened.
I'm really sorry you went through that.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I could have been a cool girl and just like let it go, but
Right.
I was in my Karen era apparently. Uh,
I don't think you were though. I mean, I think that you were being completely reasonable and it sounds like they were extremely rude. And what's up? I mean, customer service, what's happening? I mean,
mhm.
that sounds like what someone would say, "Oh, she's a Karen for asking for customer service." But it's like, why shouldn't you ask for customer service when you're buying like a $7 coffee or however much they're charging for coffee at Virtual these days?
Or just
You know?
asking them to do what they said they
Yeah.
offered to do, and
Yeah.
like that's basically like all I was asking. If they didn't say anything about parking, I wouldn't have asked for it.
Of
So,
course.
I mean, that's the only thing. And I think that that is part of like the issue is that, women have this real fear of advocating for themselves and to speak up for themselves when something unfair happens. And this is something that needs to be addressed because as long as we let it continue, we owe it to the women that we're supposedly jealous of. We owe it
Yeah,
to the women behind us to resolve this now so that the women behind us don't have to experience the same thing. And
absolutely.
so part of like visibility is speaking up. Part of it is, letting yourself be seen. And so some of the things that, and this kind of comes back into like personal style, is like, how would I say this? So women in our age demographic, like life is not over. Like there is this article in Forbes, like the Forbes 100 most powerful women, 80% of those women are over 50. And half of those women are over 60. And so we are at our most powerful time in this stage of our life. And so why are we shrinking back and hiding in the background or not like dressing to be seen? Now, why are we wearing black? Why are we like wearing clothes that hide us? Like, why are we making ourselves like less visible when this is our most powerful time of our lives?
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing, it's funny that that number sort of surprises us or might surprise people in general. When
Mhm.
if you said like the most powerful men over most of the most powerful men are over 60, we'd be like, well, of course, because that's when they have their most experience. That's where they have their most like knowledge and power. And like, of course. So,
Mhm.
but it's different. We're surprised when we hear that it's women. We should
Mhm.
really, why? Right.
Yeah. I mean, because we focus so much on like, oh, look, Hailey Bieber is now a billionaire, or like Kylie Jenner, like
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian, like all of these like people are seen
Yeah.
as like these mega powerful women. But like what happens to like, women after they have reached a certain age, they fall out of public perception. And
Right.
and this is something that we don't see these women in the collective consciousness,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
And the other thing that I would say about that is that if you it's kind of a double-edged sword because, we want to be seen as we get older and be acknowledged and be take that power, like have that embrace the power that we deserve and earn as we get older.
Mhm.
But I wonder if you looked at these powerful women, what is their personal style like? And this is not as a judgment, but I think the perception might be that if you dress more conservatively or even like masculinely, that's how you get ahead in that sort of corporate environment, which is kind of a shame, but I mean, it's not a shame if that's your style. But if you're
Mhm.
feeling if you're feeling like you're sort of forced into that or pressured into like not expressing yourself because you want to be more palatable
Mhm.
for whatever reason, that's kind of a shame. So it's just like a question, like
Well, I think,
how where personal style falls in that sort of line of thinking.
yeah, I mean, well, I think that generally speaking, like the style of like quote unquote like older women, like I had this one commenter throw at me like, oh, like you have bad style anyway, you dress like Talbots or something like that. And I was like, okay, sure. you know
Sorry,
it
but what?
just it's just like, so like this clothing company that is like their core demographic is women over 50 or something like that, and I argue like a specific woman over 50, like it's not all women over 50, right? And so or Coldwater Creek or like Chico's or like all of these brands, and they're just known as being like not cool because they are for these. So like to say like if you were to dress in these clothes, like you would be like not cool or something like that,
Hmm.
right? And so and I think that this whole idea of like what does a cool older woman look like, and this is something that is like we don't see that very often. And I think a lot of times it's because women over a certain age are erased in the media. And I was just thinking about this, and this is a movie that took place like it was a remake of like based off of a real life events. Like it was called the Dig,
The
and it
Dig?
was the Dig, yeah. And so
Okay.
it's about a woman in England who found an archaeological site like on her property.
Oh.
And so the woman was played by Carey Mulligan, and the archaeologist was by Joseph Fiennes or something, Ray Fiennes or Joseph, one of the Fiennes brothers. And so there's like a 20-30 age gap between them. You know, Carey Mulligan is much younger, and he was like he played this old archaeologist. And then there was like on the archaeology team, there was this older archaeologist and this very young, even younger than Carey Mulligan, just very, very young woman played the wife of the older archaeologist. So all the men were in their 40s and 50s, and all the women were in their 20s and 30s. In real life, the real life story, the women were the same age, if not older.
Yeah.
And so it's
Yeah.
like this like kind of
That's
yeah.
Hollywood. That is like the Hollywood effect. That reminds me of Mrs. Maisel, the marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Hmm.
I can't remember the woman's name who played her, but the woman who played her mother was only a few years younger than her. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I
And
feel like there's progress being made in movies, but
yeah.
I mean, not a
Well,
huge
the dig
amount.
is not even that old. It's like 2 years old.
Oh, that's really, really sad. So maybe there's no progress being made at all. I don't know. I mean, when
Yeah,
you look
but
at movies like, what was that one where, uh, oh God, I'm really bad at remembering names, but the woman at the very end, she stands like naked in front of the mirror and she's like an older actress. I can't remember. I'm terrible
uh,
with names, but there are some meaty roles happening for like older women here and there. It's
yeah.
nice to see.
But
In
like you don't
general,
really
that's
see them. Like I remember I don't know, like it was years ago. I don't know if you remember this, but there was this time where I saw like an H&M on the H&M website. There was a photo of a woman in her 40s, and she didn't
yes.
have her hair colored. She didn't have she wasn't made to look like an old woman, but she was older, right? And she was like she had like a couple gray hairs, she had long hair, she didn't have any work done, she had
Yeah.
wrinkles, but she was wearing a romper.
Love
And I
that.
was like shocked because I had never seen a woman in the media portrayed like that.
Yeah.
And she's just
Yeah.
wearing a romper, just like shorts, you know?
Yeah. Okay,
Um,
just to so it was Emma Thompson in Good Luck to You. What was that called? Good Luck to You,
Emma Thompson.
Leo Grande. How did
Oh my
that
God. Emma
did you
Thompson. Sorry, I have that whole thing about Emma Thompson and like how, like her and Hugh Grant, like, and how her and Hugh Grant, what was it? Was it Room with a View, or what was the movie where she plays his love interest?
Oh,
Forget the movie. It was like one of those like period films and stuff when she was
right.
young, and she was married to Richard Branson at that time and stuff like that. But she was like, so Hugh Grant and her were like the love interests in that movie. And then five
Oh,
years
Sense and
later,
Sensibility.
Sense and Sensibility. Okay, Sense and Sensibility. And then 5 years later, in Love Actually, she plays his frumpy older sister.
Oh my God.
And
Yeah.
his love
It's yeah.
interest is like 20 years younger than him.
Of
Which
course. I
is
mean, of course.
like,
It's so obnoxious.
and like,
It's
and
so
they made her
obnoxious.
like, so she gets cheated on, and like, she's just like, and they basically humiliated her like in the film, and like, she, and now her roles are more like these, like, she played like what the woman who wrote the Mary Poppins movie, and she was like really like this like hard, stubborn woman and stuff like that.
I didn't see that, but yeah.
And
But so did you see Good Luck to You, Leo Grande? Okay.
no,
It's really good, and it's a bit revolutionary. Like she's like this very suppressed woman in a like a very suppressed marriage. Like I think they like never have sex or something, or they haven't had sex in like 20 years or something. And she basically hires a call or like a male prostitute.
Oh.
And that's kind of like I don't want to ruin it, but that's like the kind of the whole movie is like this kind of relationship that they end up developing and their meetings and stuff like that. And at the very end, there's this scene that became kind of a big deal of her just looking at her body completely nude in front of a full-length mirror. And
Mm.
it's really powerful. It's like you don't ever see that, like a woman, a middle-aged to older woman her body. It's like so rare to see. And and it's not altered, it's not made to
Mm.
look younger. They're not doesn't
Mm.
seem to be retouched in any way. It's just like a realistic kind of
Yeah.
image.
And
Uh,
like, and it's interesting you bring up this point because this was also brought up like recently in our podcast. Who is it that said this?
Alicia Johnson, maybe?
Alicia Johnson. Yeah, that you're not allowed to be older and
And
in a
heavier
larger body.
in a larger body. Yes, because yeah, she is apparently the only plus and mature model signed to a major agency, like
Hmm.
meaning like Ford models or Elite, all those high-end agencies. Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's appropriate that she came up also because her book is all about being seen.
Hmm. Yeah.
And the way she talks about it is being seen to others as well as yourself, revealing yourself to yourself.
In your
Yeah.
authenticity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is like incredible. And I think that this is like all part of, like the journey back into visibility, into being like, okay, like how do I want to be seen? Just like
Yes.
noticing like how do you want to be seen? And I think that this is like and like the what is her name? Eleanor Mills. The she just recently came out with a book. She quoted I know you love this term, Queenager. Like, and
I'm warming up to it.
you're warming, yeah. But she came out, she, recently, came out with this book, Much More to Come, and she talks about this being the time in your life where you could finally be the person that you've always wanted to be. And I feel that. Like I really feel that. Like I feel like okay, like if anything I'm overwhelmed with the possibilities of like who do I want to be at this stage of my life?
Wow, that's cool,
Um
Janine. I love that. Yeah,
yeah.
I feel similarly too. Like sometimes I feel frustrated, like I feel like I'm trying to break through on various things and it's not happening. But then I'll have these moments like you just said where I'm like, "Oh my God, there are so many possibilities." Like,
Hmm.
I have so many years of I have so many years left to do cool things.
Hmm.
And this is not even close to being the end of anything.
Then yeah.
Um, try
This
to
is
lean into that part more.
yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. And I think that that's
Yeah.
like really important to think about. Like there's so many possibilities and
Hmm.
yeah, and this is just acknowledging where you are in that stage, I think is like the biggest part, the biggest step that you can take towards figuring out your authenticity and, stepping into your personal style, stepping into what you want to accomplish, how you want to engage with the world
Yeah.
forward.
And being visible. And there's this like sentence from an article in Psychology Today that really like resonated with me that I just wanted to read before we wrap up. Because
Mhm.
she was talking a lot about like how do you want to be seen? Like what you just said, like how do you want to be seen? How do you want to be visible? So she says, visibility is not confined to the assholes who yelled obscenities out car windows when we were young, but includes our right to recognition, to be seen for who we really are, to be appreciated. And I thought that was so great because I always think, well, oh my God, I'm so relieved. Like I hated all that cat calling, and I'm so glad that doesn't happen anymore.
Mhm.
But that's not it. That's not the only thing. about visibility. That's like what we want to leave behind. But how do we want to be visible? Like we want to be, like she says, we want to be recognized for who we are and appreciated for who we are.
Hmm. Yeah. And like, and yeah. And so now is the time to, figure out like what that means and how to do it with intention. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. So,
Uh,
yeah, what a cool, like, I don't know. I could talk about this forever, but I
Me
think
too.
we have to wrap up. But
Yeah.
like, yeah. So, as you're listening to this, what are some of the ways that you want to be visible? And, drop us a line because
Yeah.
I would love to hear from you.
We would love to hear some stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, let's take care
Yeah.
and we'll
Thanks,
see you next
Jennine. This
week.
is
All
fun
right.
talking to you
Thank
as
you.
always.
Okay. All right.
Bye.